been going down the drain.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
And now, live, unedited, unrehearsed, and unapologetic, brought to you by Imperial Fire Alarm and Security, securing your world. Straight off the ledge, it's JD and Smitty!
Radio show with JD and Smitty on 96K Rock. Phone lines are open, 277-9600, or for the viewers on the Ledge Cam, it's 239-775-9600. Catch us streaming live video on theledgeradioshow.com. Give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. Thanks to Tripod Billy behind the glass and our producer, Sick Rick, who just parachuted in at the last minute. What's up, Smitty?
What's up? What's up, world? If you've first time listening to this show, hang on. It could change your life.
I doubt it.
Actually, I want to thank our sponsors, D Squared Construction, Kevin Dwyer. He's been terrific and supporting us. We want to give him a big shout out. He's a great guy. And Imperial Fire Alarm and Security, securing your world. Look for them on Google or on Alico Road. They're both there.
All right. Well, thanks, Smitty. In studio with us this morning is Lee County School Board candidate for District 2, Paul Schafer. Mr. Schafer, welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Give me an official. There you go, man.
Nice being here, DJ and Smitty.
All right. We appreciate it, buddy. So, District 2, just so we know, what is the area that District 2 encompasses?
We basically run from the river, Colonial, out to 82 to Corkscrew.
Okay. That's not Lehigh. That's this side of Lehigh, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And have you ever run for school board before?
This is my first time in Lee County, but I have served on school boards in the Chicago suburbs.
That's right. Well, give us a little bit of background about you, just to let the listeners know, where do you come from, and how did you get to this point running for the school board for Lee County?
Well, a friend of mine who was a principal suggested that I substitute teach since I had time on my hands.
Okay.
And that didn't stop you?
No.
That would have
My
stopped
wife
me.
also told me to get a job.
I got you. She was tired of you just laying on the couch all day.
Right.
Okay.
So I went to school and started substitute teaching, and I didn't like what I was seeing. So a position came open as a paraprofessional PE teacher, and I like to be outside and like to exercise. So I took the job. And it was also a time for me to listen, watch, and ask questions.
Kind of see what was going on.
Correct. And it was very enlightening, and I found some things that I think need to be changed.
Some things like what? What are some of the keystones to the reason why you wanted to run, and what kind of difference do you think you can make?
One of the things that I think is, the FCAT testing, the way it's run, we spend 60 days out of the school year, 187 days. So that's almost a third of the school year is put aside for testing, taking pre-test, teaching the children how to take the test. There's no subject matter. There's no learning going on except testing.
Right.
And the children get stressed out.
They do, absolutely do.
And there have been cases where come test day, they're throwing up because they're so tight. We need to change that. And we can't change it at the local level because we don't have control. It has to be changed at the state level.
Right, because that was a state mandated issue, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Our government, when it was formed, had limited powers.
Yes.
And passed it down so that you had control.
At the smallest level.
At the smallest level. So we could make the changes needed for our particular area.
For Lee County.
For Lee County. The state level can oversee, but they can't dictate, which they do, and the federal government dictates too.
Sure.
And we need to start getting local control back and have broader governance from the state, which allows us to do what we need to do.
Well, I can appreciate that, and that's something that I've talked about before. And I've got two small children that are in those grades. I've got one that's going, I think, into third grade, and then one that'll be in 6th grade.
And you got a new one. You got a new one.
And
now.
a brand new one on Monday. Thank you very much. Got a brand new little boy, Tyler Matthew, and but so he's got a few more years before he gets to school. But I've got my younger son. He's pretty acclimated to public school. He's in the gifted program. He does really well. He's in a specialized class, so things seem to work out pretty well for him. But my older son, he's just as smart as my younger son, but he needed a different environment. And we noticed that this FCAT, like you mentioned, it would stress him out. He got great grades, and he usually scored pretty good on those type of tests. But we did notice that the work that he was bringing home, the homework and the studying, to me, now you say 60 days, I swear it seemed like it was more like half a year that they were just teaching the FCAT. Because the point was, if you teach the FCAT and you can get your school to score a higher grade, or there's a money benefit for that. So it's like the schools, they've got a thumb on them saying,
and
hey.
There's been some schools that have actually got caught rigging up their FCAT reports to get more money.
Well, that's a possibility. I'm not really sure, but I wouldn't doubt it.
There have been some that have upped their grade and got better grades because of the FCAT because they wanted more money. That's fabricated.
A great possibility, and because of that, we had a really good principal at the school that he was at, and then we got a different principal who came from a school that was a C level, is however they grade it. Well, then our little school started to decline, but it declined based on the FCAT scores. But in general, the whole morale of the school changed. So we actually put our child in a private Christian school that we had to pay for. No vouchers, no government money, nothing like that. We paid for it. And now with the addition of the new one, we're actually going to homeschool our older child and see how that works out. And, the problem I have is that, we do have to get it changed at the state level. And so we can get the right people involved, like yourself at the school board, but how do we work on getting it changed? What can we do to help get it changed at the state level?
What you need to do is write your state legislators and let them know to let the local governing board of the school district do the testing. You set the bars for us to meet, and let us do it our way.
Okay.
And one proposal that I would like to see is do a 3-tier test. We do a beginning test when you come into school to see where you are.
Sure.
Are you at grade level? Are you below grade level? If you're below grade level, we can give you resources to help bring you up to grade level or above. Then we do a mid-term test to see how you've progressed
Throughout the year. Yep.
Throughout the first half of the year.
Okay.
And then also we can bring in extra resources. It's also a benchmark for the teacher. Do we have to give the teacher more help?
What about what about the class sizes? Are you for eliminating the high number of kids in a classroom right now?
We've already done that.
What is it now to 29?
18.
Oh.
No, 18 is the max.
It depends on the grade levels.
Okay.
The lower grade levels, you have smaller class sizes. When you go into high school, the class sizes are a little larger.
Okay.
I think right now they're adequate. The other thing that I'd like to see doing is when we get new teachers in there, why don't we take them and pair them up with an experienced
it's a mentor
teacher,
program. Correct.
So mentor them and show them the ropes instead of saying, okay, here's your class, walk into it.
Are you saying that that's generally what happens is that a new teacher, say out of college, got their teaching certificate, boom, here you go, you've got a class now?
Correct.
Wow.
So, they come through when they're in college and they do some team teaching,
shadowing.
interning.
Yeah.
But let's get them in there and let them work and have the other teachers.
It's not a bad idea.
Because this way, if you have children that need special help, you got the resource there.
Sure.
And then you do your end of course test. This is the one that goes into the state, and they can see how well we've done. Dr. Burke has suggested this, and I agree with it. This is one way that we can raise the bar.
But isn't that going to raise the price of teachers now? Because you're going to have 2 teachers you're going to have to pay for. And you're going to have one guy or gal.
Yeah, but would you rather pay a little bit more and get a better teacher?
I'm just saying, you put all these teachers in a mentor program. It's going to run the price up a lot.
If you do that initially, you're going to have less turnover on teachers.
That's true.
And they're going to stay because they are prepared for it. You're talking about costs. I'll give you a federal mandate cost. We have the free food program for breakfast and lunch. Federal government came in to see how we were administering the program. In some schools, they were taking unopened milk, unopened juice, and setting it aside for the children to use at lunch from breakfast. We were told you can't do that. Once a child touches that, you need to throw it in the garbage.
Even if it's unopened and kept in the
Even
fridge?
if it's unopened, if it's still fresh, never been touched, it's just taken from the food line, put on the tray, and into the garbage.
That is a waste.
Do you know how much money, 50 states, that we are wasting a day? This is money that could be used to educate our children. You know, it's a great program, but, you know, give us the flexibility to use it at our end so that we can save costs.
I think they just let the kids go through the line twice. You know?
Well, some of the chubby ones might.
That's
I don't know.
There's a couple of kids that are starving out there. They're still hungry. Saying,
Right.
hey, go ahead, get Johnny's milk. He ain't drinking it.
That's it.
That's
But
what I do when
but
he
don't
eats.
throw it away.
When he's eating,
Right.
I look over his plate. I say, "You finishing that?" And he says, "No." I go, "Excuse me," and I just take it right off his plate. So,
So, I mean, we got to start getting control on costs.
Well, that's definitely a big factor. And you know, something else that I like that you brought up is with the local control, and I've mentioned it before here. In the old days, the PTA or the PTO had a real strong presence with the school board, with the teachers at their school, and you know they helped to set the curriculum at the local level. I don't even see that anymore. I mean, I don't even know when they stopped.
Parents stopped showing up.
Is it because their input didn't matter? Because it doesn't seem to matter anymore.
I don't know. It's.
I mean, we're controlled by the state and the federal government, not at the local level.
I went to a couple PTO meetings at a school, and 2 people showed up.
Oh, that's a shame.
You know, now some schools have a very active PTA or PTO, and those schools prosper. I read in the paper today. I don't remember what the school's name was, but they're having children and adults coming in and help painting rooms. The school went through a remodeling. But the community is in painting
Involved.
the rooms. They're involved. They're bringing the
That's
paint
pretty
in
cool.
to paint the rooms.
That's cool.
you can have him paint my house.
When you're done,
I need
come
some
to my
paint.
place.
I'll really motivate them,
You
boy.
do need some paint.
You ain't
I need
lying.
some, too,
I
on
will
the outside.
motivate them boys bad.
But once the community takes an active part in the school, you know, the schools prosper. The parents, the children prosper because they take ownership in
Sure.
it.
Well, you know, on that point, and if anybody wants to call in, the numbers are 239-775-9600 or 277-9600. You know, we used to have local community schools in this county and in Collier County. You know, I lived in Lehigh, so I went to Riverdale. That was the school I had to go to.
Then you had school choice
Well, and then school choice was a great idea.
on paper.
On paper, but then you get to the point where, all right, now you can choose a school that's, 15 miles away. So now the buses have to take you there. Now I know they've got 3 zones in Lee County, but we've got like 22 choices or something in
It's
my
just
zone.
not cost efficient anymore.
It is not with the gas prices and the busing. I mean, and these kids are on the bus for like 2 hours a day because they're going from
Right.
wherever, Cape Coral to Lehigh. I don't know how far they go.
I had
but
a son that lived up in Tanglewood. He had to get a bus go all the way down to Three Oaks Middle. It was like, are you
Wow.
kidding me? And that's how it was. And he couldn't get a closer school.
When like I said, I went to Riverdale because it was my close school. But you know what was good about it? Even though, in the old days, everybody had little slogans about their school and what have you, and good things they liked and bad things they didn't like. But it was community supported. Everybody in the community, when it was football day, they had their sign in the yard for, go Raiders or whatever it was, or for Lehigh, whatever, go Lightning. And you don't have that anymore because you might be living in the Cape. You're not going to support Riverdale.
Our slogan was "Pay attention or party."
Well, that's good.
That was ours.
That's good. But that's the thing. We don't have that community support because you don't go to the school near you.
Yeah, that's a good question. It was brought up to me, and I'm now reading a 72-page article on the federal mandate,
Okay.
so I can be more knowledgeable of where we came from, where we are, and what needs to be done.
It's a conspiracy.
No, I mean I know
Yeah,
there was an anti-segregation
Correct.
mandate that was put into place, and it was like a 30-year run.
That 30-year run has expired.
It has expired, and school choice I think is good, but we've
But they
got
also came up with school choice, and it was modified.
Okay.
And what we need to do is look at the school choice now and see if it needs to be remodified. The problem is we have schools where we don't have too many children, and we have children where we don't have too many schools.
Right.
Gotcha.
The state government says you have X number of students, divide that into the number of classrooms you have enough schools.
Right.
Well, and all that remember when they went down to the 18 kids in the class size, that's when Lee County exploded with building like 50 new schools.
Yeah, they
I mean,
did.
I went to school here for almost my entire life. You know, even though I'm from here, I went to most of my schooling here. And
ALC.
No, never went to ALC, but not like your kid. But we had the same schools for the whole time I was here. And sure, population boom, we had a lot of kids in the class. As soon as I graduated, they built like 50 new schools. And now they wonder why they don't have enough money in their budget when they built so many schools and they bought so much land for potential growth in the future.
You got to understand there's two pots of money. You got your
Like the
operating
building fund
and building and maintenance fund.
Sure.
So I mean, there's separate pots, and you can't mix the two.
Well, speaking of that, now my wife, she was on an advisory board for my son's elementary school out in Lehigh, and it had to do with money. It was they had certain grant money, I think is what it was, to invest in IT and technical gadgets and gizmos for the school for the students. When they had an excess, a surplus of that money, wouldn't you know it, they couldn't use it for anything else. They had to spend it on these whiteboards and all this stuff instead of getting new teachers or upgrading the classrooms or school supplies. They couldn't use it for that.
They could use it for paintbrushes and paint.
Whatever. I'm just saying there's so many constraints put on money, where it comes from, what it's allowed to be used for, and if they don't use it, they lose it. I mean, that's government waste. That's the way it's always been. If you've got it and you don't use it, you lose it.
And then we spend money filling out paperwork to both the state and federal government to tell them how we spent the money and where it's at. And we could use that money to hire teachers, because that comes out of the operating budget.
Sure.
It's money has stopped on some of these grants, but we still have to fill out the paperwork telling you that we're still in compliance.
Speaking about the teachers, do you support the teachers union, or are you for non-union teachers?
I can work with both. I've worked with both. Union is just one aspect of it. What we need are quality teachers.
That's a good answer. Either way, across the board. And I think you've got quality teachers, whether they're union or not, but I think they're all in a union. I'm not really sure, but it seems like they all have to be.
I think they are.
But
they have a choice, because we are right to work state.
So they can join.
So they don't have to support it or what have you. Okay. Well, I tell you what, we are coming up on a break here in a couple minutes, but I want to give you the last couple of minutes.
Find your website and all that stuff.
What's a website or some address people can go to support your campaign?
My website is psleecountyschool.com.
Okay. And now you're running for District 2.
Correct.
And is your election August 14th like everybody else's?
Yes, we are in the primary, and if nobody gets 51%, then the top two candidates will go to the general election in November.
Is the school board candidates, are they partisan? Is it a Republican or Democrat, or is it supposed to be neutral?
No, it's nonpartisan.
Oh,
neutral.
Okay.
So anybody can vote.
What's the pay? Just curious.
I think it's around 37,000.
Around 37,000.
Yes.
Well, that's probably a mid-range, modest pay, I would say.
Yeah, we don't get paid like the county commissioners.
It doesn't beat sitting on the sofa, but you know.
But you know what though? But you're
involved with the children, and they're the future of our community.
Education
if we don't
is the
start
key.
educating them, we're going to be lost.
Well, I like the fact that you actually went to a school, you substituted there, you learned from it, and you said, you know what? I see something wrong here, and I want to fix it. You're not just a Joe off the street that says, I want to run for school board because I want to be a politician. You actually saw an issue and you want to fix it, and I can appreciate that.
I don't plan on making a career out of this.
If you start a career now, I don't know how much longer it'll be.
Thank you. I've had prior experience, so I can bring this knowledge that I have attained from serving on past boards.
And you're a Marine.
Thank you.
Always a Marine.
Yes, sir.
I'll
die as a Marine.
Good for you, buddy. We appreciate your service.
And it was my honor.
Good.
And I fought for our children so that they could have freedom.
Absolutely.
And have the right to point and give their views. And we need to continue this. only through there will we be strong.
Well, Paul, we really appreciate you coming in today, buddy. And
Thank you so much for asking me.
If we get an opportunity in the next couple of weeks, it's Saturday morning, you want to call in or something, give us a call. Let us know how things are going. And we wish you good luck in the primary.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll be right back, folks.
Zito and Gary.
There's a lady on line one that teaches kids with Asperger's.
I don't have Asperger's. That's just dumb.
K-Rock.
I'm calling because I'm a teacher that has worked with special ed kids for over 15 years. And it sounds like he has a lot of the characteristics of a person with Asperger's.
Zito and Garrett middays, 10 to 2 p.m. after Bubba on 96 K-Rock.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter how small, secure your world with Imperial Fire Alarm and Security today.
Imperial Fire Alarm and Security is a local company with hometown service, the way it should be. One call to Imperial will align you with the most effective fire alarm security and surveillance systems, as well as state-of-the-art wireless monitoring. If you're a property manager or condo association member, ask about Imperial's wireless monitoring systems to replace costly and unreliable phone lines and save your community thousands. From individual homes to large communities, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security can secure your world.
Don't you think it's time to secure your world? Imperial Fire Alarm and Security services Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. Learn more at imperialfiresecurity.com or to schedule your free consultation, call 239-288-6482. Secure your world at imperialfiresecurity.com.
License number EF2 000046.
When it comes to finding a reliable general contractor, you need to pick someone with a solid background and a good reputation. D Squared Construction gives you all that and more. They are family owned and operated and stand behind every project. Quality workmanship and satisfaction to the customer has made them one of the premier contractors in Southwest Florida since 2004. Small residential renovations to large commercial projects, they do it all. And they do it all well. Your projects are much too important to trust just anyone. D Squared Construction will come to your house or commercial project and give you a free on-site estimate. Call Kevin Dwyer at 239-561-4108. That's 239-561-4108 for a free consultation and some good sound advice. They won't waste your time or your money. D Squared Construction. When it needs to get done right.
You never know what we're going to say or do. Take 96 K-Rock wherever you go with the iRadio Now app.
iRadio Now.
Available for free on all smartphones, including Android. The biggest personalities in radio entertainment. Available on one app.
iRadio Now.
The iRadio Now app for all smartphones.
Just go to the App Store and search iRadio Now and download it for free.
Brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, Coconut Point.
Visit 96krock.com for more information.
iRadio Now.
96 K-Rock.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
Welcome back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. Phone numbers are 239-277-9600 or 775-9600. Check out our live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also find us at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. So visit our page and give us a like because we might just like you back. What you got for us, Smitty?
Well, I think I'd be remiss if we didn't mention the horrific Batman shooting out there in Aurora. This guy, of course, everybody's been hearing about it on the news.
Yeah.
23 or 24 years old, went out to the movie house late at night, 12 o'clock at night, had a showing, dressed up like Batman and the Joker or whatever, went out there and was shooting people. It was just
Wikipedia
tragic.
Again.
It was just tragic.
Sorry, folks.
Man. I mean,
just Wikipedia for Smitty.
It was horrible, and a lot of people say, "Well, why are the little kids there?" And
right. That's true. I don't know what's the movie rated. Do you remember?
I don't know. It's PG or something.
Probably TV-14.
But they said that the reason that a lot of the parents had kids there was because they didn't want to pay for the babysitters. And so that's why they were there at night with their kids, 6 years old, or some were even holding babies, and were actually there watching late at night. And of course, this guy had a nut attack and went crazy. And the count,
I mean, they don't have all the they don't have all the statistics in.
Yeah, no, they're still trickling them out.
What's the toll right now? The death toll?
It's like 50, 59.
No, the death toll.
The death toll's 12.
Okay,
the death toll's 12.
And how many injured after that?
And like 59.
Wow.
So it's bad, and it was just horrific. And I don't know what makes people do this. And a lot of these guys are very, very smart.
This guy was.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are smart.
Book smart anyway.
Well, yeah, they're very, very intelligent. You have Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah,
he was a genius.
Well, they talked to the parents who live in San Diego or out in California somewhere, and the parents, it was a total shock to them so far.
Well, the mother said, somebody told me this morning, that they asked the mother about her son doing that, and allegedly, this is what I'd heard. She said it doesn't surprise them.
Really? So now they must have seen him kind of going downhill.
I mean, what do you do when you're sitting there and the police knock on your door and say, "Oh, by the way, is this your son? You got a picture of or a daughter?" And and they say, he just killed a bunch of people. What do you even say to them?
I couldn't imagine.
Horrific.
I couldn't imagine the emotion of that, something like that, and for the families. Especially the families that lost children to this, there's just no excuse for it. You got a lot of people pointing blame at different things, different groups, different ideals.
Sure.
But the bottom line is, so far, it just looks like this guy just went nuts. But it looks like he'd been planning to go nuts.
Yeah, they said 3 months ahead he had bought the guns.
Yeah.
And he had his whole place booby-trapped.
Like 6,000 rounds of ammunition.
I mean, and the guy was smart. He was a neuroscience guy. He was a smart guy.
Did you hear how he was dressed when he came in? He had like full battle armor on. He had the throat protection, the shin protections,
and everything.
The bulletproof vest, the ballistic vest on top of that to carry his magazines.
Yeah, I'm not getting sitting next to that guy at the movie house.
Well, I heard some information as well, and I don't know because the police haven't released an official document.
Sure, it's trickling in.
Yeah, it's just trickling in that. Someone said he may have kicked in the emergency exit door. That's one rumor. Someone else said that he came in. He just came in like that. And I don't know if people at the front of the movie house started calling 911 right away when they first saw him, or they just thought he was just dressed up for the movie.
They thought it was a shtick.
What was the thing that the New York City commissioner said something about him having his hair painted red, kind of let the cat out of the bag, and someone said that he was the Joker.
Right.
And I mean, if that's the case, obviously that's Batman's arch nemesis. I don't know if that's the truth.
Sure.
But that's one of the rumors that came out. And but it's just
his name's James E. Holmes. And like I said, he was a very intelligent young man and obviously planned this thing out. And the poor families that had to get the bad news is still trickling in. And
we would like to offer our condolences to the family, friends. I told you yesterday I actually knew some people from Aurora that worked up there, and then our good friend Livingston, she's actually got a daughter that lives up there, and her daughter was supposed to go to the movies that night to watch that show, and she did not.
Well, there's a woman in Toronto that was there. She had a previous experience. Her name's like Gowa or something like that. I'm not pronouncing her name correctly.
Imagine that.
But yeah, I'm great with that. But anyhow, she had a similar experience in Toronto, and she actually walked into the mall and saw a guy dressed up like Batman and left. And then later, the guy ended up shooting everybody in the mall. Now she was at this theater, and the same thing happened.
Well, I mean, but this guy, to my knowledge, was not dressed up like Batman. But it sounds like Sick Rick might know something about this. You know something over there, don't you?
He actually came into the movie theater dressed in black, normal.
Dressed in black.
When the movie started, he went out the exit, popped the door open, went into his car.
I saw that too. So he comes in dressed in black, and then goes out the emergency exit, props the door open, goes to the car, gets all his gear, and then comes back in and takes care of business.
And the guys that are doing this crazy stuff, they're not like horrific, just look like crazy people. This is just like a regular guy.
He did.
Just like a regular guy. And the family was probably shocked to hear that he did this. But, who knows?
Well, one thing that obviously this is a political show. We talk a lot about politics, and one of the first things that came out about this, and I even mentioned to you yesterday, I said, just wait till the first person yells that this guy was part of the Tea Party.
Right.
God forbid. Well, sure enough, they did. We've got ABC News comes out right away saying, oh, we found this guy's name on the Tea Party website in Denver. We don't know if that's the same guy, but, it's a good possibility. Well, later on, it was discovered that was not true, that there's plenty of guys with his same name, but the gentleman on the website was a completely different age, was not him. So then ABC had to come out later, give a full formal apology to the gentleman that they named on the Tea Party site, because all his friends and family think that this guy's the killer.
Well, that's.
But why would you just, immediately ABC, the All Barack channel, comes out and says, Hey, we found the killer. He's Tea Party.
It's not all Barack Channel. It's just the fact that
is.
this guy wants to get out.
And you got
he
NBC,
wants to
the national
report
Barack
it
Channel.
first. He wants to be the first guy to
The
report
first guy
something.
to report the wrong news. That's awesome.
And that's as a knee-jerk reaction. Obviously, it was wrong, and he should learn by that lesson.
Well, it's pretty typical. It's pretty typical. So that's a shame because it shouldn't happen like that. You don't need to politicize something, and and now of course. You got the immediate calls to round up all the guns. We got to get rid of all guns.
Gun control.
Gun control right away. You got Piers Morgan chiming in. This is from Twitter. Horrendous details from this Colorado cinema shooting. America has got to do something about its gun laws. Now is the time. Goes on. The news feed says Morgan's obvious lack of knowledge about the gun laws in America was pointed out by many on Twitter. Michelle Malkin also tried to teach the Brits some of the positive benefits of gun ownership.
Sure.
Michelle Malkin tweets back, "Dear gun control zealots, looking at you, Piers Morgan. Armed Colorado citizens have saved lives in mass shootings. Get educated." The link in Miss Malkin's tweet was tied to a 2007 story about a shooter in a Colorado church. Lives were saved that day because of an armed security guard in the church. She saw the shooter and took decisive action. And then came the blame game on Twitter. Here's just a few of the tweets that want to blame Rush Limbaugh for this. So Rush Limbaugh caused this guy, who's not a Tea Partier, to do all this.
Yeah, all this sensationalization is just ridiculous.
Here you go. Some guy named P. Burton. Wonder if the Colorado shooter was influenced by Rush Limbaugh's rant against the Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
You mean Bane?
Yeah, exactly. That's another funny story. The Democrats came out immediately to excoriate Romney and say, "Oh, he's the negative character, the bad guy character in the movie."
Because Bane.
Then come to find out,
it was 30 years ago.
Bane was 30 years ago. But then on top of it, the guy that wrote the movie said, "No. Yeah. If you watch the movie, it's actually a conservative slanting movie."
Right.
Bane was actually Occupy Wall Street. That's what he said. That's very interesting take on it. We got another Twitter guy, Raymond Wright. Really tragic what happened in Colorado. Really sad and a damn shame. Wonder how that idiot Rush Limbaugh is feeling this AM.
Well,
like it's Rush's fault. Now, how can it be Rush's fault that this guy has been planning for months and goes in and kills all these people?
I don't know, the same reason I guess people blame rock music for making people go crazy a couple of years ago. They were talking about all the lyrics and all the bad, stuff that goes in their content.
Here we go. Hollywood's also going to wake up and hear about this horrific event and find a way to get their names and faces on it. Actor John, I don't even know how to say this guy's last name. I've seen it many times. Leguizamo? Is that the one? Leguizamo gets points for being one of the first celebrities to stand up on Twitter and demand that all guns be taken away. So here he is on Twitter. "My heart goes to all the victims' families in Colorado. No one should have to go through that. When are we going to get guns removed in this country?"
Didn't Australia try that?
They did, and their crime rate tripled. When you take because remember, the only people that are going to give up their guns are law-abiding citizens because they are law-abiding.
Sure.
This guy was a nut. He wasn't, he wasn't a known criminal.
No, and you know what? He didn't have anything on his blogs or his pages, which was really odd because they say most times when people are having their nut attack that they're going to have something on there about I don't like this guy, I don't like you, I don't like this guy, and there's a thread of inkling of something going wrong in this guy's head,
especially in today's social media world.
Sure.
But the bottom line is though to call for all guns to be taken away. That'd be great. Why don't you go to the bad neighborhoods, take the guns away from the criminals? Start there first. If all their guns are gone, I'll gladly give up mine because I won't need it. Although, backtrack a little bit, you might need it in case the government ever comes down on you. Right. I mean, that's the thing. That's when you've got government control creeping in like a dictatorship. If the citizens don't have their weapons, then they're like England or Australia, where the government can just tell you whatever they want to do.
You never see a lone gunman go by and spray a bunch of people at the jail outside walk place, whatever that is. They walk
like the tent city or something like that.
Yeah, like the yard. But you never see somebody go, "I'm going to hose all these criminals down."
No, that's true.
They always a kid in a movie theater. That's just craziness.
277-9600 or 775-9600. There was a guy a while back that he was kind of like a vigilante, not like a Charles Bronson vigilante from the movie, but what was that? What was the name of that movie?
Death Wish.
Death Wish. Yeah, it was great series. It kind of got corny towards the third, fourth, and fifth one, but anyway, this guy was going out and killing like crack dealers and stuff like that, and eventually I think he was killed or got arrested, but there was one guy that was actually killing folks that he thought was bad. He was taking justice in his own hands. But you're right. It seems like these people always want to kill the innocent.
I don't know what the deal is, man.
And just whether you agree with a Batman movie or whatever it was he had issues with, that's crazy, man. And literally, that is what is. And here's something that kind of leaked out from the New York City police commissioner accidentally. He did bring up. He brought up the fact that this guy had we mentioned a few minutes ago came in, had his hair painted red, and claimed to be the Joker. So I don't know if that's true. It's something that came out in the news yesterday. So maybe that's something they're going to look into. But the guy's house was also booby trapped.
Yeah,
like major trip wires and all kinds of liquid in there, and different bombs and what have you. I mean, that's pretty scary, man.
The guy's
and it was an apartment building.
Some place there's going to be a lawyer that says he should get off because he was abused as a child. And he was just tore up as a kid, and the poor soul just didn't know any better. And he was on drugs, and he was drinking, and you're going to have somebody defend this guy.
I'm sure
that is absolutely crazy.
Well, he's already retained an attorney.
Oh yeah, he's going to claim insanity, obviously.
Well,
what other excuse can you have? I'd stand up and go, I'm nuts.
But if you're that nuts, how can you be that nuts and plan all that if you're not just turned out to be a vicious killer?
Good rebuttal.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, really, you spent 3 months planning it. You didn't just snap that night and decide just to, while I've got all my guns in my car, I think I'm going to go kill everybody. Yeah, he planned for it, so it's premeditated capital murder. Are we coming up on a break?
Yeah, let's take a little quick one.
If we do,
we got a new guy in here.
Another guest?
Another guest.
All right, well, when we get back, we'll be live with Byron Donalds in the studio. We'll be right back.
96 K-Rock. Stan and Haney afternoon.
Here's something cool. If you're a fan of The Who.
A fan of who?
The Who. Who?
What band?
Who?
Yes.
The band.
Yes.
Who? Yes is another band. I'm talking about The Who.
Yes.
Another band. The rock and roll band, The Who.
Okay, why didn't you say so?
Stan and Haney afternoons. 96 K-Rock. Talk that rocks.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter how small, secure your world with Imperial Fire Alarm and Security today.
Imperial Fire Alarm and Security is a local company with hometown service, the way it should be. One call to Imperial will align you with the most effective fire alarm security and surveillance systems, as well as state-of-the-art wireless monitoring. If you're a property manager or condo association member, ask about Imperial's wireless monitoring systems to replace costly and unreliable phone lines and save your community thousands. From individual homes to large communities, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security can secure your world.
Don't you think it's time to secure your world? Imperial Fire Alarm and Security services Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. Learn more at imperialfiresecurity.com or to schedule your free consultation, call 239-288-6482. Secure your world at imperialfiresecurity.com.
License number EF2000046.
When it comes to finding a reliable general contractor, you need to pick someone with a solid background and a good reputation. D-Squared Construction gives you all that and more. They are family-owned and operated and stand behind every project. Quality workmanship and satisfaction to the customer has made them one of the premier contractors in Southwest Florida since 2004. Small residential renovations to large commercial projects, they do it all, and they do it all well. Your projects are much too important to trust just anyone. D-Squared Construction will come to your house or commercial project and give you a free on-site estimate. Call Cav & Dwyer at 239-561-4108. That's 239-561-4108 for a free consultation and some good sound advice. They won't waste your time or your money. D-Squared Construction, when it needs to get done right.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening.
Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
Welcome back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. The phone numbers are 239-277-9600 or 775-9600. Check out our live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also find us at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. And in studio with us today, back for the third time, Mr. Byron Donalds, running for U.S. Congress. Byron, thanks for coming back, buddy.
Man, I love coming in here.
You just like getting you like getting Smitty a hard time, don't you?
No.
Listen.
Last time you were here, you left. You had your head in your hands, going, "What do I do with this guy? What do I do with Smitty?" And afterward, you're like, "JD, man, we got to do something about this guy. There's something wrong with him, man."
You know, it's funny. People were watching on the webcam, and they're like, "I just saw your head go down on the microphone. What was going on?" I just said, "It's Smitty, man. It's Smitty."
Well, I'm glad I didn't have my gun that day because someone might have got shot. Well, you know. I know the Colorado shooting took a lot of, and it's going to continue to take a lot of the airtime right now, and as well it should. But you know, in this particular topic, I'm going to get into because you're here, and you know, you're very well versed in the economy and economics, and you know, so I want to play this for everybody, and basically for the folks who didn't hear, and the folks that just need to have a you know, just to hear it again, just so they're reminded what it is. Barack Obama had a speech in Roanoke, Virginia, where it was a very polarizing speech, but he basically comes out and says that if you've got a business, you didn't build that. Other people built that for you. And me as a small business owner and a small business builder, I can straight up tell you that the only thing the government's done for my small business is put red tape in the way. All the fees and fines and licensing and all the stuff I have to pay just to get my business solvent to start is such a drain, like an anchor. You know, it's like a little teeny choo-choo pulling 100 cars behind it, running out of gas. So for me, that makes me very angry because I know that, sure, I've got some great employees that help me build this business.
You're right about that.
You know, other than him, I got other greater employees.
Speak on it, brother man. And,
you know, but the countless hours I put into this, work at the office till 10 o'clock at night, you know, 4 or 5 days a week. That infuriates me to hear our president, say that. And I want to go to that audio. Sickrick, cut one, please.
If you were successful, somebody along the line gave you some help. There was a great teacher somewhere in your life. Somebody helped to create this unbelievable American system that we had that allowed you to thrive. Somebody invested in roads and bridges. If you got a business, that you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen. If you got a business, that you didn't build that. Well, somebody else made that happen.
It was done like that for a reason. It was to you know, emphasize that last line.
Well, I know you wanted to use that one little clippy line, a little cute little thing.
I listened to the whole speech.
I know. But the problem is,
the fact is that's his own words.
The problem is, you're trying to spin this thing. That's not what he's saying. He's not saying that you're not putting in your hours. He's not saying that you're not putting it. He's not
without
saying
them, I wouldn't
you're
be where
mad
I
at the
am.
government because the government's tacking on taxes and all the other stuff. And he's not saying that you're not putting in your hours and building your company.
Oh, he didn't?
No, that's not.
Oh,
he's using that
because you
metaphorically.
built it.
He's using it
They built it.
metaphorically.
The government built it.
He's using it metaphorically.
I've seen this.
And what he's trying to say is that, you know, you have done. Look, we all can't be CEOs. I know that. We all can't be
You
doctors.
could be.
No, that's a fantasy.
Well, you couldn't be, but
I couldn't be.
a lot of people
No,
could
a
be.
lot of kids. Reality is not everybody's going to be a CEO.
That's fine.
Okay, but you built your company, and other people have too. And what he's saying is we're all in it together.
Yeah, collective salvation.
As the teacher teaches you and helps you along the way, and somebody gives you a break and says, "Hey, I'm going to give you a break. This is your first job, Joe. Okay, well, I'm going to let you build this house
That sounds
for me."
great. Let's get Byron in here.
Yeah, because somebody's going to help
Come
you.
on, Byron.
I'm about
Add
to
some
put my head
sanity
back
here.
in my hands. Listen,
I know.
we are all in this together only in as much as we use voluntary exchange and free market capitalism. We all exchange our money, which is the fruits of our labor, for things that we want. Let me ask this question. Did anybody really help Steve Jobs make Apple computers? For that matter, hold on a minute. For that matter, are the guys who make Angry Birds, you know those guys that people play on their phone?
I don't play Angry Birds.
The guys who make Angry Birds, was somebody coming around, helping them, giving them the ideas to make themselves a success? The reason why the Angry Birds company is a success now is because people have decided to take their money, whether it's $1,
and their initiative,
to make millions of dollars because people want their products. That's how free market capitalism works. That's how voluntary exchange works. The president, frankly, he had a slip of the tongue because he was off script. And, you know, I'm a firm believer at, you know, when you're off script, that's really when the things in your heart come
the
right
truth.
out.
The truth shall
And so
set you free.
His mindset, the president's mindset from the beginning, even before he was president, has always been a collectivist mindset. His mindset is really born out of W.E.B. Du Bois' Talented Tenth, whereas in the black community 100 years ago had to find the best among us. And those are the ones that we promote, because it's only with them that the rest of the community could be brought along. And that is simply not the case. People are brought along by their merits, by their talents, by their hard work, and their decision-making in life.
Somebody has to be there to groom you, to help you, to encourage you, and really inspire you.
But he's not saying that. He's saying that the government got you where you are.
I don't think
without
I didn't take that at all.
Because he references bridges.
Listen.
He references bridges and roads and electricity poles and infrastructure.
Well, the government can help you.
Everybody knows the government has a role with infrastructure.
I mean, look,
but you can build up. But infrastructure is not built unless there are people operating in the marketplace to create wealth.
What pays for those roads?
Wealth.
Taxpayers, right?
Taxpayers making wealth pays for the roads.
The roads didn't come first.
Yeah, but
the
just because you work hard every day doesn't mean the average guy down here that gets in his truck, drives all the way to Tampa, works 10, 12 hours, drives home, he doesn't work just as hard. Everybody works just as hard.
Smitty.
We're not saying
Here's
that.
the point. I was at FGCU in a civics class a couple of days ago. We went through the same conversation. There is no doubt that everybody, for the most part, works hard for the money that they earn.
Absolutely.
The difference is there's a division of labor because all labor is not the same.
That's correct.
All labor is not the same.
You might have specified training, specified trades.
There it is. Listen, I graduated high school the same year as Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant makes $27 million a year. I don't. You know why? Because when he was 10, 11, 12, 13, he worked on his game day in, day out, and I did not. There's only 3 people in the world.
But I think you're smarter. I think you're smarter than him.
No. But listen, there's only 3 people in the world who can do what he does, and that's why he makes $27 million a year. Oh, LeBron James and Kevin Durant. There's only
you're talking
3.
about current people, okay.
Yeah, current.
All right.
There's only 3 people in the world today that can do what he does.
I believe that.
That's why he makes $27 million a year. Furthermore, all the people who are his trainers, his housekeepers, they all earn nice livings because he earns a great living based upon his talents and his merits.
Well, yeah, but didn't the government provide him all that tool, all that knowledge?
Of course not.
With when they built that community basketball court, wasn't that the government that did that for him? Or was that paid with tax dollars?
Listen, if there weren't people who were industrialized, who weren't using the fruits of their labor, there wouldn't be community courts to be built in the first place. Second point.
Do you all support Rick Scott? Do you all support Rick Scott?
Yes, I do.
I do too.
Do you know how you guys college? You got a GI loan, okay?
Good.
So there's a point.
Wait, that's completely different.
Now, there's a point about the government helping somebody and giving them a chance.
He served in our military.
Doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? If you're going to
somebody had to give him a chance.
If you're going to lay
he fought for his country, that's why he got a GI Bill.
You deserve together. We're all in it together. And when you're just going to look at just the guys that have privilege and all
it's privilege to serve in the military.
I'm not talking about that. Don't put words in my mouth.
Let's break this down. Let's break this down. We're all in this together under a moral order of voluntary exchange and free market capitalism. But you do not have the authority, Smitty, to coerce me to give something to you. And even though the president might use colorful language, when you look at his policies, he wants to coerce the set of individuals to give to other individuals. And that is not a moral order. That is not voluntary exchange. That is not free market capitalism. That does not respect the basis of this society with its life,
Byron?
Liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
What would you call it? What the president's doing?
Oh, he's a collectivist. This is collectivism. The president's mindset from day one has always been that we have to bring everyone in under one framework where we have a certain few up top who are deciding what's fair for everybody.
You mean like union heads?
But the truth of the matter is,
the 1% that owns 40% of everything?
See, again, you're wrong. You're off again. But here, I'm going to get to that in a moment. But the reason why the president is wrong is because no central authority can ever get that right. There's a reason why Stalin killed Trotsky. Because Trotsky wanted to disband the government for this workers' paradise. But Stalin knew you could never have it because you always had to maintain coercion and control over the people to maintain this fantasy fairness, which will never exist in world history.
The utopian society.
Yeah, it can never happen.
Hey, I've got another quick audio if we can play this. This is the ad that Romney came out with. It's about a minute and 30, 40, I think. But it kind of goes against Barack Obama's statement. What we're going to hear is Barack Obama with his part of the speech. You're going to hear then a factory owner or business owner, and then you're going to hear Romney give his rebuttal, is what I would say. Sick Rick, cut 2, please. Such soothing music when you got Smitty in the room. You need music like this.
If you've been successful, you didn't get there on your own. You didn't get there on your own. I'm always struck by people who think, well, it must be because I was just so smart. There are a lot of smart people out there. It must be because I worked harder than everybody else. Let me tell you something. If you got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
My father's hands didn't build this company. My hands didn't build this company. My son's hands aren't building this company. Did somebody else take out the loan on my father's house to finance the equipment? Did somebody else make payroll every week to figure out where it's coming from?
Listen, Smith.
President Obama, you're killing us out here. Through hard work and a little bit of luck, we built this business. Why are you demonizing us for it? We are the solution, not the problem. It's time we had somebody who believes in us. Someone who believes that achievement should be rewarded, not punished. We need somebody who believes in America.
The idea to say that Steve Jobs didn't build Apple, that Henry Ford didn't build Ford Motor, to say something like that is not just foolishness, it's insulting to every entrepreneur, every innovator in America, and it's wrong. President Obama attacks success, and therefore under President Obama we have less success, and I will change that.
There you have it.
You know, one last point on this. The president is arguing for something that already has existed in America for 200 years.
What's that, Byron?
He's making the argument that nobody gets anywhere on their own. Okay, let's expand upon that. Teachers work and they get compensated for their work.
Yep.
Welders work and they get compensated for their work.
And they chose that profession.
Business owners work and they get compensated for their work. We've been down this road for 200 years in this nation. Anybody who owns a business, of course, needs employees to help him make it on his way.
Absolutely.
But here's what you got to understand, Smitty. Those people are compensated for their labor. So his comments make no sense in the framework of what America already is. Yeah. What he's trying to do is lay the argument down that what we've seen happen through voluntary exchange, through the reciprocity and the exchange of money for one's labor is immoral. And the only way you can have a quote unquote fairness is to authorize him with the authority to decide what's fair. But what's fair to him will be only fair in his eyes and not to all people based upon their merits, their talents, and their labors in life.
Very well said.
That's the difference between what the president is trying to lay out there and what the conservative message is.
Like I said before, I understand that you have to work hard. Everybody does. A lot of people put a lot of hard time.
And we're not saying that laborers don't work hard.
A lot of guys are very, very smart and a lot smarter than us. And they own companies and CEOs and they've worked hard.
Thanks, buddy.
You do. You work hard. And we're not saying that that's the problem. We're just saying that while you're making your way up the top and when you're giving people are helping you out, you just didn't do it on your own. Everybody was in it together. If he has a bunch of goofballs that are out there working for him, he's going to collapse. But if he hires good guys, they work for him.
But who hired him? Who hired him? I did.
Okay.
I chose it.
So that's
your argument?
What you're saying,
that's your argument against that.
The principles you're laying out. He didn't build his business just
everybody
on him.
Has,
he needed
everybody
people to come in and work
everybody.
for him.
We're connected.
So then what's the point of the president's speech then? What is the point of his speech? He's saying what already exists. A business owner needs employees, which he has, which he compensates.
So you agree with him?
No, because I know what his point is. His point is not to lay out what already exists. No. His point is to say that what exists is wrong.
What both
he's
parties
trying to teach this. He's trying to show you sheeple what he wants you to hear.
What both parties are trying to do is separate the masses. That's really what they're trying to do.
I would argue that the president of the United States uses tax policy, uses this kind of language to divide the American people and here's why. Because if the American people realize what already exists, which is that we don't need Washington, we don't need Barack Obama, for that matter, we don't need Mitt Romney, then he loses power. That's exactly what it is. You don't believe me? Because look at what's happening in my race down here. It's about power.
It has nothing money and power.
In my race right now, I won a straw poll last week at the Lee County Republican Executive Committee. The chairman of that committee decided not to put my face on the mailer because I'm not his choice. If I win this Republican primary, you know what that tells him? His power means nothing.
That's right.
It's all about power with the political class. Barack Obama wants to divide us because he wants to maintain power. Because if we don't need him to exist, and frankly, none of us need Barack Obama or Mitt Romney or any other politician to exist and to live our lives, then they become less important in our society and they don't have the power that they desire. You see, that's the real battle in American politics today.
Ego and power.
It's ego and power against the American people.
Absolutely. What do you got for that, Smitty?
I'm just going to read some statistics here.
Sure.
The wealthiest 400 individuals in America own more wealth than the bottom half of America.
Is that from Wikipedia?
That's 400 versus 150 million people, okay? Just to give you an example, 6 heirs of the Walmart company, 6 kids alone, they own more wealth than 30% of the nation, 90 million Americans. 1% own 40% of the wealth in America. Think of that.
Yeah, we should excoriate them for being successful.
What do you think? Well, nobody's trying to beat you up because you're wealthy. We're just giving you
what are you
facts
saying?
here. I'm saying to everybody, you guys can help.
You're saying that you want some of their
the
wealth.
CEOs, and I look to all these rich people that have so much ultra wealth
And you're
to step up and to be the leaders and
You
say,
said
you know
they
what? We're going to pitch in. We're
They
going to
already
pitch
do.
in.
But you said they can
Because,
help.
like they did back in World War II
Smitty.
when the war was in debt and everybody was paying 90% taxes. They pitched in because they knew it was the right thing to do, and they had to do it for the country. And now everybody's taking their money and putting it overseas and going, screw America.
You see that big vein?
And that's exactly what's happening.
See that
So
big vein?
step up and you talk a good game, but if you got so much money and you got so much power, then step up and save the country instead of griping about your tax bracket and moving money
We need to get-
overseas
we need to get some
and moving
paddles.
corporations
Smitty,
overseas
that's enough.
and
That's
putting
enough.
it in
That's
Cayman
enough.
Islands
That's
and
enough.
all that. That's the truth.
That's
That's
enough.
the truth.
That's just a
I would
rant that
never-
nobody
Step
can
up.
talk to.
Nobody
You talk
wants
a
to,
good game, but
nobody
step
wants to
up
send
and
money
do
to
your
a
job.
government that wastes their money for them.
Step up and
The
do your
federal
job.
government spends $1 trillion more today than it has. Who in their right mind would give extra money to a government when they know that they're going to waste
Well,
it?
then-
Where our spending priorities are far different today than what they were
Let's
in World
take
War
one
II.
quick call.
I'm sorry.
One call.
Go ahead.
Caller, you're on the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. What you got? Real
Hi,
quick.
how are you guys?
Good. What you got, buddy?
Great conversation. You stir up a lot of interest in people. But I think what we have, if you get down to the basic of it, we have a lack of morality. I mean, the system we have is great. It's the best system by far in the world. 99.9999% of the people that have ever lived on this planet have not been as free as we are.
That's true.
But somewhere along the line, and you can say it's because we've removed religion from school or whatever reason, we've lost our morality.
I
So
agree.
those that get extra don't feel that need to give back. A lot of them do. I mean, a lot of them give back a lot of the money that they have into society. But to say that by giving it to one big giant government, which is so inefficient in their bureaucracy, that they're going to spread it around while taking 80% of it to fund themselves and only 20% get the people who need it is not the answer.
Caller,
we need to get back to a moral society where people feel a need to take care of each other.
That's
not
right.
to give
I agree,
the government
caller.
and let them take care of it.
I agree, caller.
I agree.
Thanks,
Great-
buddy.
great-
We're almost out of
great
time.
point.
Byron, what's the name of the website again before we let you go?
ByronDonalds.com. I address these issues and many more on my website. I hope to have your vote on August 14th.
There you go. All right, Smitty.
See you. Wouldn't want to be you.
See you next week, folks. Thanks.